What's up, guys? Welcome back. For today's video, we're going to talk about something that's a little bit overlooked but very important, and that is sizing. Now, there's a bunch of different aspects that come into sizing, when to take bigger size, depending on account size, stuff like that. But sizing really is based off of conviction and then also how many days till expiration contracts have. One thing that I think is overlooked, not as emphasized, is how much of an impact sizing truly has on our mental trading, our trading psychology. And the real underlying here is, sizing, if you're sized in too heavy, you're going to be more emotional when you're trading. So in order to manage emotions better, reducing size, perfectly okay. Taking one contract, you might not feel like you have all that money or anything like that invested, but just because you're taking one contract doesn't mean you're a worse trader or anything like that. Before I get started, I just released an ebook, literally everything I know about options, how I got started, from very beginner level to higher level, some strategies, everything like that. I'll leave that link in the description. Doing a giveaway on Twitter if you want to enter into that. And also will be a 25% sale from now, which is Sunday, June 5th, until Wednesday, which is June 8th. Okay, now let's get into the sizing. All right, so the first thing first is account size. So one thing that with a smaller account's a little bit harder is really finding a happy medium for our sizing. And the first thing that I'd recommend is if you have a $500 account, I'd say 20 to 25% on one play is a good happy medium start. Reason for this, don't want to blow the entire account in one move, but as a smaller account, it's harder to find plays that are under $1, or if you do, then you can practice scaling, maybe get 2 or 3 contracts and practice scaling along the way. About $1,000 account, 15-20% gives about that same range. And it also helps with that mental aspect of things. Once you get to bigger account sizes, right now I use about 5 to 10% of my account, whereas I was using that 20 to 25% when my account was smaller and I was trying to build it up. If we have a smaller account, it's a little bit easier to go back and make money doing some side hustle, something like that. But once you get to those bigger account sizes, you say you lose 5% of your account, you have a $25,000 account. That can take a decent hit on the account, so it's a little bit harder to make that money back relatively quick. The second thing, and one of the most important things, is conviction. So how I use sizing is using the EMAs and VWAP to affect if I'm going to take partial size or if I'm going to take full size. In this case, I'm using these orb high and low here as triggers. In this case, we have a rejection of our orb high on this candle here at about 9 o'clock Central Standard, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard, which would be a good entry spot, right? We've already established that this is resistance early in the day, long upper wick, nice. But in this case, we are below the 20 EMA, but we do close above the 9 and VWAP. So in this case, I'm going to use partial sizing. The reason being is there's still support levels in which we can bounce, and I don't want this play to flip very fast on me. This also is, about midway to a little bit higher than midway conviction point. And how I add more conviction is once we're underneath all the EMAs and VWAP, this shows that there's an intraday trend set up and I'm not going against trend. So in this case, where would I take full size? I would take full size right here on this candle retest. We get a close below, closes well below, and I'm going to wait on that 5-minute candle close for confirmation. We get a retest here close to the 8 EMA or the 9 EMA. We're below the 20 EMA and below VWAP. This is a very high conviction add spot, so I'll go full size in this case. The next entry spot I like here we have these bases down here, claim higher lows, and then close back above 8 EMA. And we get a flip in here, but in this case, both of these I would only size partial because we are still below VWAP. While the trend has flipped, VWAP can provide a very big level, and we're below this previous resistance, turn support, resistance spot at 307.75, which is the orb low. The next spot, look for a put entry here. We do reclaim 307.75. Next candle retest, but we have a tweezer top or a tweezer formation here. Basically, relatively same high. Next candle closes below 307.75 and VWAP, giving another entry spot. In this case, would also be a partial entry because we are above the 9 EMA and the 20 EMA, which can act as support. We did have a recent flip to a bullish intraday trend from a bearish intraday trend. So this gives me a way to know where I'm sizing in based off of conviction. I will size in heavy when it's with trend. It is a retest, either the low or the high of orb, or we have a pattern breakout that is above or below all the EMAs and VWAP. The big thing there being, I don't want to size in heavy or full size when it's going against trend. These can reverse faster than if we're playing with the trend, and having good risk management, having a stop loss is still very, very important here. Now, the last thing you should be accounting for when taking size or determining what size to take is how many days till expiration the contracts have. In this case, this is a Friday trade, right? If we were playing 0 DTEs, always partially sizing. These can flip very fast. Volatility is very high. One 5-minute candle can lead to 10-15%, even more, depending on how big the candle is, of course. But if you're playing further outdated contracts, the premiums are going to move slower, and therefore more confident in taking heavier size. That's one thing with 0 DTEs is always use partial sizing, just because the risk is inherently already higher playing 0 DTEs with beta, time decay not on our side. So that's one thing I try to do. If you're more confident in 0 DTEs, sure, go for it. But that's really all based off your style and how much you're willing to risk on each play.